This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, CCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for products, and FowLibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists,
as well as our guest lecturer members Vite Ramen and Darren Noblock.
Class is in session.
Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours featuring myself, DMO73. I will be joined shortly by the Lindley brothers, who are getting ready to jump in. But as it is, what happens is my co-hosts, as usual, are sick and gone. Not available. So today, it's going to be me, myself, and I, until Jeremy and Matt join. So they're going to get themselves set up. But we're here. Just letting them know that we're here, being myself. We have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, and also just a cool conversation I think that I want to have in the second half. We got some spoilers, including the first two of the official spoilers for Ruler School of the Darkness cards. We got all of them, the full suite of basic Darkness cards is what we are going to have for our event. Very, very much looking forward to that. I'm going to make sure I have these people have their roles assigned so that they can be joining the chat, or this once they get all set up here. Manage roles, invited guests, save. Gotta love it when we have kind of these like last minute fixes, right? And then make sure that he's all set as well. He should be, should be able to hop right in. So the Jeremys will be starting things off, and then I think Matthew will be joining us shortly soon. We got some cool stuff to talk about today. Cool conversation to be had. A lot of cool stuff. And by the way, 2 weeks until FowFest. 2 weeks until FowFest. Isn't that right, Jeremy? It's 2 weeks till FowFest.
Oh, yep. I actually in a practice game practicing my deck for FowFest.
Oh, snap. I'm excited to see what you're bringing to the table. It's going to be some good times. The goose will be coming back. And remember, Jeremy, don't forget, next time you play Cube, don't just hand Jeremy all the Darkness cards.
I have my own strats for Cube for next time.
Yeah, that's good. A little funny story is that now that your brother's here as well, these guys wanted to play Cube at the very end, so we did a little 4-person cube, and I was so tired at the end of FowFest that I started the cube by saying, I'm only going to draft Darkness cards. That is all I'm going to do. Just putting that out there. And these Matt lads proceed to hand me the most cracked Darkness pool I've ever seen.
Pretty good.
Look, I announced that this was what I was doing, and you guys continued to hand me these cracked cards.
To be fair, it was our first time playing Cube, and we did not understand the consequences of our actions.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You definitely did not understand the consequences of your actions, but you've learned better for this time, so it'll be good.
We've had a year. We've had a year to pick up on that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have the Lindley brothers here. Matthew and Jeremy, good to have you. Thank you for being willing to hop in kind of last minute. Welcome to Office Hours.
Yeah, sure thing.
So we are going to be talking about some cool spoilers tonight. We got some light cards, and we got the first two of the Ruler School exclusive Darkness cards. By the way, Ruler School has been given all 14 of the Darkness cards to spoil over the span of this week. So be sure to tune in. We'll mostly be doing them as shorts throughout the week. You'll see a short get posted. That'll be like our 2 cards for the day. But then we'll kind of recap them at the end of the time as well. If you haven't already signed up for FowFest or gotten information about it, you should check the link in the description below. Obviously, that's the place to go. It's going to be insane. I have a ton of stuff in my office that I want to get rid of. This isn't even half of what I have. Please take it away from me so I don't have to live with it anymore. And also, if you are liking these cards, you can get pre-orders through Odyssey right now for Judgment of the Rogue Planet. Link in the description below to go to Odyssey's website and get those up. Okay, so let's talk about some new cards. Light cards. First off, overall impression upon seeing kind of, because I haven't heard from you guys in a bit, overall impressions of the concepts that they're bringing forward in Judgment of the Rogue Planet. Go.
I think they're really cool, honestly. And as someone who likes to go burr and play a lot of cards as fast as I can, like the possibilities are very intriguing with all of the will cheating that's kind of built into the new set. I'm pretty excited, especially because it looks like they're not going to ban Ions, and I would love to go back to Ions and make a more aggro version than what's being currently played.
Sure. Okay. I'm curious what you mean by like will cheating, because it's not really, at least that I've seen. There's like there's like advantage for the void costs of stuff, but you can never actually get rid of the like main color cost of stuff.
That's fair. I think there's just the one card right now that you can make completely free. I think if there's no resonators on board, it's a light will what less, and then you can also do like the solarization to pay it down.
I think we've seen like a in development version of that. Yeah, I don't think we've seen the like finalized version of it.
Oh, that's fair. I'd say that's the one that.
Yeah, I do know they had it was like a 2 cost of like you could solarize for 1, and then if you had no resonators and a matching ruler, you could pay 0 for it. But you still have to like get a void card out of the game or a light card out of the game first, but then the solarization stone helps with that. And
yeah, there's got to be
I
an
think
cost to it now. Oh, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I think there's so many. It's just such a new kind of concept that I feel like it's so far-ranging. It's kind of hard to really grasp right now until we see a lot of it, but just like how you play it. And I think even just with the new rulers, I think it's very interesting that right out of the gate, they have a lot of almost floodgate-esque kind of stuff to them.
yeah,
But they also have immediate counters built into them based on how the deck is also kind of built in. So I think that's going to be interesting to kind of see kind of the give and take, kind of the counterplay working both for them and against them, and how that changes the meta kind of at large. That's
yeah,
a lot to
I think
work with.
I think it's really interesting to me. Specifically, this feels like it's a set that's bringing a lot of power to Judgment, like the mechanic of Judgment, like full-handed. Just like, okay, listen, y'all have been doing contracts and ordering. Y'all have been like, bring back Judgment. We're like, okay, like here you go, right? Like certainly feels like what's going on, which I'm very excited about for sure. It also feels like this strangely feels like set 4 FOW does in most clusters, where it's just like, welcome to the last set of the cluster. We're getting crazy and we don't know what we're doing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like a weird gimmick that's just kind of like, this is out of left field and here we go. So, yeah, 2-pin, what's the differences between in development? It's probably minor wording changes or like clarifications or maybe slight tweaks to the effects, but usually we haven't seen much. Like a good example of the difference between in development and finalized is the Dominatus Chrono Gear, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, is the fact that the first video had the regular version of Dominatus, but then when the promo was spoiled, the company confirmed that the language on the promo is the like accurate language. So like those kinds of like little tweaks, right?
You could also do the same for the will stones, because the new will stones now say like this is a will ability, whereas the under development had not said that for the clarification.
Which is great, because we were all like, yo, we're gonna lorite these stones. Like, no thank you. No thank you. So yeah, for sure. So let's go ahead and just get started with some spoilers. We got Aristella and Hyde was our first card spoiled. I should probably actually I'm gonna go grab these from the like promo images as well that they spoiled, because that'll probably be important for us to talk about. But Aristella and Hyde, we've seen this card before, but in the video, but now we see it in like all of its full high res glory, which, God, this card's gonna look so good full art, like right out the gate. It's gonna look so great.
Yeah.
I just love Gnarly and X like fighting in the top corner. It's so good. 3 cost, 9/9, pay 1 white less to play this card for each ruler named Aristella or Hyde. Pay 1 blue, rest all non-fairy tale J/resonators, play this ability only during main timing, which means your turn, chase empty, main phase. Thank you for not busting that wide open. Pay 1 Pay black, target ninjutsu chant in your graveyard gains Remnant until end of turn. That's kind of correct. And then when this card leaves the field, if you control Aristella or Hyde, you can put the other one into your ruler zone, ditch your Moon Children, and then either gain a will coin of the 3 colors, or gain a Shinobi EX area, or expand your Shinobi EX area. So you essentially abandon your Moon Children to double your contract flexibilities, and then you kind of can make use of the other one's mechanic or something like that. I think this benefits Hyde way more than Aristella.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I think this card is an absolute bomb to just play in Hyde main deck, especially because it's a ninja. Like, it is a ninja.
Yeah. And this combined with Ego would kind of give her a way to still have a contract in deck. Because, like, you can just run Aristella's contract. You know, you can run Ega's combo band with the actual contract.
Sword.
Yeah.
I'd run Heteroclite Excalibur. Or I'd run Blue-White Excalibur. Like, and just have that be my contract. Be like, big machine.
I mean, easy because you're just adding that in, and then it's also just a big beater on board. It just gets less expensive the more you play it.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think this card gives Hyde way more of a boost than Aristella, because I don't really think there's a world where like Aristella wants to suddenly be benefiting from ninjutsus. Like, that doesn't really feel like anything that would benefit him. But Hyde getting access to a contract that already wouldn't feel bad, like replenishing your God's Arts for like X the Black Cat to then go dig for another card face down or something like that, is pretty great. Also, keeping this is very dumb, and we're going to talk about very dumb things because we're the Forcible community and we love to go, hey, the ban list isn't out, we know 10% of the set, we've solved the meta, right? If you have Iga and this card in hand, and you use X the Black Cat and Blue Moonchild, or Water Moonchild, you could just cast this guy for free immediately at the start of the game, because you can pay 1, put it face down, flash in Iga, produce a will, blue, recover it, bounce it back to your hand, reflash in the Iga, cast it again, cast this guy out of the EX area. I don't know why you'd want to do that. It seems really bad to just like burn yourself out to put a 9/9 rezo into the board, but maybe.
I mean, that's pretty cool. You could also, if you Black Cat got him in your EX area, you could use Iga, get a stone, play him, Blue Moonchild him back to hand, proc the leave effect. You've already procced both Moon Children, so you lose nothing.
Because it does say when this card leaves the field. That's
Yes.
pretty solid.
Say.
Yeah.
And then you get the will coins, you could replay it if you wanted to. Like, right
Yeah.
after that, just switch out rulers.
Yeah, it's neat. I like this card a lot. I think it's very cool. It's a very cool design space. It certainly feels more tuned towards boosting the H2 ruler than the H1 ruler.
Yeah.
And I honestly hope that we see that across the board for everyone except Kilo.
For sure. Yes. I think they need that. I definitely think the Hero 1 have had their very strong run. And I still think they're great, and I love them as a Falcon main. Like, love seeing all that. But I definitely think the Hero 2 cluster needs a little more love. And I think these are a really good way of doing that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This card's very, very cool. Overall, very, very awesome. And like, you brought up an interesting point, Matt, about these are cards that we read them, like all of the cards that we've seen so far. We read them and it's like, I don't really know. We're going to have to just play with them. Like, we just need to start actually using them. The entire solarization mechanic is just like, wait, what?
I feel like that's just a mechanic on its own where like you have to see it played to really even just get your head around it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that is an interesting point. So Timoth has mentioned Kilua's partner is Brad. So that's also very strange, right? Because Kilua's partner is going to be Brad, which is not an H1 ruler at all.
I'm really excited for when they make some absolutely crazy Brad support and it actually is relevant. Like,
Can you imagine if it was get a ruler named Brad from outside the game and put it into play?
Say.
Maybe. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So then we have our first Solaris site, which arguably all of the Solaris sites are gonna be the same. But On enter, you can have 10 copies of it. On enter, remove the top card of your deck. Taps to remove the top card of your deck from the game. That's not a will ability, but the bottom one, which is a pay, you tap, you may pay 1 white or 1 void less to play the next spell, activate ability, or judgment process of a card with an attribute including white. That cost reduction is until the next will vanishing or whatever, which is essentially as you recover and at end of turn, which is a great way of making it so that you can't like carry the discount over to the next main phase. Thank goodness. But also thank you for making it a will ability.
Yeah, that's definitely required. Something I did just realize is there was that moon from quite a few sets ago that makes it so that stones with non-will abilities can't unrest.
No. You're under exaggerating. From quite a few sets ago, that card is from MOA. Transparent Moon is a card from the first year of the game from MOA, the set that nearly killed the game, and says stones that do not have will abilities do not recover. So that's something that you have to watch out for, and I'm really glad that you can just play Edition Hate. Yeah. These are neat. These are cool. I might put them into the cube. In all honesty, just like one of each of the 5. Just be like, hey,
you could do that.
I mean, they're definitely good.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say again. I think it's interesting that it builds in, allows you to continue removing, but it also even still goes into Muse. So I feel like it's got that kind of alternative.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that's keeping me like super just like, oh, these are unplayable is the fact that it can pay into Judgment and activate abilities, right? Because I think a big part of this too is, I think a big reason that we're gonna very clearly see is that these rulers want to Judgment a lot and frequently. Yeah. And so like that's a big out to them for Muse staring at, because they're just like, okay. And strangely enough, if I remember correctly, with Muse staring at, it doesn't send it to the bottom of the deck; it removes it from game.
It does.
Right.
That's
so casting something into Muse is like, I mean, okay, I still get to use it later. It's fine, whatever. So it's not. I mean, like, it is going to be a good card against decks using this stone or the Solar Stations, but also I feel like there will be some ways for them to play around it. So, AKA get good. I don't know. That's all I can say.
Yep. Yeah, definitely trade off. And then, I mean, it's got the synergy with Brad built in and Solarizations. Like, it's probably worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Muse hits anything this card pays for. Doesn't hit Judgment or activate abilities. Muse doesn't hit activate abilities, so keep that in mind. Persephone stonks. Going up. And then we have Dominatus Chrono Gear, which came out as a promo, which, first off, dang, this promo art is gorgeous. Nice. The fact, it is probably, Paul and I were talking about this last week, either in the podcast or maybe just personally. This is like the first promo in like 3 clusters, I think, for me, that I like the Buy a Box promo more than the OG artwork.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It's been a bit, so this is and it just really shows that like Tina being gearified, which I think is just really cool.
Yeah. I am surprised, and I know this has kind of been mentioned before, that with the heavy focus on Judgment, that they're adding a contract.
Yeah, that feels a little weird. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, a reincarnation onto a contract. I mean, I guess I kind of see it because like it's so much easier to kill a contract in response to attempted contract since they're regalia, as opposed to like a J ruler. You can't really do anything to. It's just like, I mean, you can't target my ruler. What are you gonna do? So like. It's like there is some upside to them getting this ability to contract, but also like they have an inherent like vulnerability to being able to pull it off. And people are already playing stuff to mess with contracts from regalia anyway, so It's a fair trade-off, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, and also just a 7 cost, like outside of it. So it's like, so Solarization 6, Reincarnation with Tina. It can add itself to the stack if you Judgment a light queen, J Ruler, into the field. And when it's underneath it, it gives the top card of the stack. Whenever it's rested, put target light resonator from your removed area into your hand. So it's a nice little buyback. Or it naturally has that ability itself if it's the top card of the stack. And then tap, destroy target resonator or addition. Keep in mind that if this card is stacked underneath something, it won't have that tap ability. But also, Inheritance, put a white 4/4 light fairy resonator into the field with flying into the field. So a nice little like way to be like, well, I'm going to Judgment. Well, it won't work with Tina because Tina's not a fairy queen when she flips, but it would work for Alice, the fairy queen, when we do that. This is cool. The Inheritance effect is really, really nice.
Oh, yeah. I could see this card legitimately coming out or being played for all 3 of its abilities in a single turn in Tina. Where you use the Inheritance, goes to the graveyard. Oh, actually, I guess you can't Reincarnation and Inheritance it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of weird, right? But you could do this weird, you could do a really weird convoluted thing where you go to your point of Inheritance to pitch, and then you go Judgment Queen, stack it on, and then you could do the Meteor Dive on Fairy Queen, and then swing in, and then use the trigger to buy back a card. You could do that, I suppose. Like, that's a line.
I feel like it's going to be really strong. Tina already feels pretty good with her aggro variant. Like, I feel like that card makes it pretty crazy.
I feel like I'm weirded out by that because of the fact that, like, in order to put this card in, Tina either has to lose some of her aggro package already by like replacing it to this, or lose some of her like protection to be able to also play this card, right? Don't get me wrong, I would probably still play a couple copies of this, but like this to me maybe like replaces like Fairy Twins.
That's the exact card I was thinking of.
Yeah, so it's just like I'd rather play this over Fairy Twins, so I can have some stuff that's a little bit more quick cast driven.
Yeah. Now, oddly, my brain always likes to go like weird places because I love deck building and just all that kind of stuff. And my first thought,
no way.
My first thought upon, oh, just wait till you see the deck I have for Foul Fest. It's gonna be really fun.
I'm very excited.
But what I immediately go to think of is other Alice, one that becomes all races, and the fact that you could order her out and still add this on because it just says enter. It doesn't say Judgment.
Oh my gosh.
Because you could order a fairy. That's crazy. You're
because
absolutely
she is light
right.
and she is a queen.
And she'd a J
in.
Ruler.
And then I could totally see a weird jank version of just Odin, where you're just playing Artillerist because she's such a big card anyway, and then she just acts as just a good card because you can pitch her for her ability if you need to as well to get a Resonator on board, and doing all the other stuff you normally do.
Yeah,
that's neat. Get those Zeus Alice promos. Next up we have the pre-release promo, which shows us Solaria, who is just the biggest meme, but probably still good. So she's a void, has Judgment, rest 5 recovered Solaris rulers you control. Like we used to joke when there was the card to bring in Cain, Abel, or Eve that we were like, look at how many rulers you could get. No, Solaria was like, bet. That's my whole shtick, is getting as many rulers as possible.
I was just setting us up for this.
Yeah, I was just setting us up. So, has to Judgment 5 other rulers, non-Chrono Gear, non-Gear, non-Solaris entities you control, lose all abilities. This means that she gets no Dual Stone, no Special Magic Stone access outside of her own. She can play the Solaris Stones and Ein's Stone. That's it. And even then, you don't want to probably play the Einstone because it won't produce will immediately. Gears in your removed area gain all of the attributes as long as they're in your removed area, so paying for the Solaris stations, the Solarizations. Homeland gears. At the beginning of the game, you may put a gear addition from your hand into the field. This is probably to go really well with her Solaria's Wind, Solaria's Fire, whatever.
Yeah.
Because she's a Void ruler, so none of those would proc. And then at the beginning of your main phase, you may put a light, fire, water, or wind or darkness ruler you own from outside the game that does not share a attribute with J rulers you control into your ruler area. So the Solaris stations, essentially.
Yeah.
Man, I have that double-sided ruler school playmat with all the zones on it. I clearly messed up because there's only 3 ruler zones on it. I did not future-proof that playmat at all. Would not think 5 rulers, 6 rulers would eventually get us there.
Yeah.
So I think
Not
this guy
other
is...
rulers.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think this guy's really cool. Like, Ain's on steroids, kind of. Like, rulers coming out at the beginning of the turn instead of, like the different gears you could reveal before. Like, all the enter effects on the new rulers, assuming they're pretty similar to, like, the old dragons. I know we had the one revealed today, that, no spoilers of what might come up later, kind of seem to mimic one of the older rulers. I wonder if the other ones will be...
The Lapis or the Vingolf 3 rulers.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll all kind of match based on their color. And, like,
Yeah.
if that's the case, there's some really interesting options for this.
Well, that's also an interesting thing that we talk about too, about like, oh, well, Mew's staring at this deck gets 5 judgments, 6 judgments, right? So it's just like, okay, your Mew's staring at is cute. Dragon. Another dragon. Another dragon. Yeah, it's very interesting to me. And, Sir Timothus brings up an interesting point. It does say just 5 rulers, and technically in the CR, when you pay cost is after you've performed Judgment to see if you can perform Judgment. So technically you need 4 Solaris stations and Solaria to perform Judgment. The only downside is that Solaria would then come into play tapped, but you kind of want her to die, so maybe you don't get the card. Well, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Yeah, this is very cool to me. It's very strange. People pointed out that Homeland isn't technically a keyword. It's just like the name that they've assigned an ability, which is why Homeland for Solaria being from hand instead of outside the game is okay. I'm not gonna lie. There's part of me that thinks it would be nice to just retcon Homeland to be from hand instead of RFG, but also like, whatever. At this point in time, the best ones have all been banned, so like whatever, move on.
Yeah.
And then we do have the backside of her, who's a 0/0. She gains +5/+5 for each magic stone you control. Or +3/+3. So the more Solaris sites you have, the better. Same kind of thing if the removed area. She has barrier naturally, and when this card is destroyed, you may reveal a J ruler named Arc you own from outside the game. If you do, put all magic stones you own on the bottom of their deck, put in a random order, and put that J ruler from outside the game into the field. Players cannot chase this ability. So, I mean, this isn't even my final form, the effect.
I'm just curious what Arc does.
Yeah.
And putting all of your Magic Stones back into the Magic Stone deck is worth just getting him out. Like, that's an entrance right there.
It makes me feel, because it makes me wonder if it will be, and this is crazy, because, and this is pure lore and pure speculation, because no, I did not get this card for us to spoil, so I'm not hinting at all. We know for a fact that, like, based on speculation, that the gears have been using the characters of the past and like gearifying them, right? Pretty clearly they've got Gil. Pretty clearly they then got Olga off of Gil, but probably more of like Gil Alhamad vibes. And if you think about the last ruler who we had who didn't care about stones was Gil Alhamad, who on his double flip side, big boss monster, was just all of your cards gain ancient magic and you don't have to pay will for them.
Ooh.
So the idea of Arc's flip side being like this was the ultimate power. I'm going to make a gearified version of it. I could see that with the fact that we're losing all of our stones, right?
That would make sense.
That would make sense, right?
I'm kind of curious if Arc will kind of be like a Satan is to the Fallen Angel rulers, where he's not necessarily like a playable ruler, but he's just that boss come in once you get this point to, kind of like you said, just enable gates.
Yeah, exactly. Like Alhamad himself was a 2020 that had every keyword, but really it was just, you can't ever kill this thing and it makes all my cards free. So the rest of my deck will kill you now. Which is part of what I think maybe Arc is going to be. And I'm really glad that it's unchaseable. Like, thank goodness. Like, let the big boss monster be the big boss monster, right? It's very neat. I'm very excited. Gotta see what Arc does.
Oh, very much.
For sure. This might put some more. Girl Staring At was already pretty good, but like Girl Staring At might be one of the only ways to prevent this. Like that and like Lenisfaria.
Sure. Yeah, that currently, as far as we know, that's the only way to mess with it. Yeah, thank goodness Girl Staring At exists.
Yeah.
Girl Staring At will just kill this card just by itself because it'll.
Oh, she's a 0/0.
Value.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. I mean, it's nice that we have. Well, because and here's the other thing, she doesn't stop spells from having abilities, right? So there's a very real world where you just bypass this card completely by casting any of the Brad spells to kill your own J ruler.
Yep.
Right? Where you're just like, free, kill her immediately. Here's an arc, right? So things like Girl Staring At existing kind of is like, cool, let's keep turbo triple flip in check if we don't mind, please. Like, I'm okay. Oh man, enter, recover all rulers you control, and until end of game you may pay 0 to perform judgment. That would be sick. The only thing I would say is like also dragon rulers you control gain imperishable or something like that too, so you can just keep flipping them over and over and over and over again. That would be neat.
That would be really strong.
Yeah, I'd dig that for sure. So let's see, what else do we have here? We also saw the light. Speaking of solarization, we saw solarization station of light, which has the same effect that we've already seen before, but we'll flip it over into, speaking of dragons, this is big old dragon, avatar of light, Solaricites, a 12/14 flying that essentially doubles the taxing RFG effects of the front side, but then has enter, destroy all non-magic stone, non-J ruler, non-Solaris entities. So blow everything up if it isn't Solaris, which is exactly what the old Dragon of Light did. Blows everything up.
Yeah, I mean, possibly free Judgment to board clear that you can pull out at the start of a turn where you know you're really going to need it. Like, that seems so fun.
Yeah, this card is very, very cool, and it's just really nice to see the avatars like be made officially canon.
Yeah,
like lore canon. Listen, Blue's in the chat. Say lore, we're lore fans here, so like the dragons being officially canon is nice, and the artwork is gorgeous. Like this is very sick.
I'm kind of curious what happens like when you have two of these kinds of decks play against each other and they just start removing cards from their deck off of each other. Like one person tries to play any card that would produce will just to like cheat out cards from their deck, and then both players are just, all right, here we go. Let's just
the
turbo
mirrors will certainly be interesting. And there's been this interesting discussion of like, do we think the Solaris stations ever can be played like by themselves? And I think yes, I would say I think they're probably, but like a Solaria deck is going to be built very differently to abuse the, like that's going to be the deck that gives you the avatar J rulers is like Solaria, but then there are definitely going to be, as we've seen with the card that we saw, the hide, like releasing the light or whatever, there's very clearly I'm playing Solaria, so like Solaris Station of Light, intentionally to destroy it so that I can then get to other cool J ruler combinations, right? And at that point in time, those decks aren't really going to care as much about the avatars. So that'll be really interesting to see deck building wise as well.
Yeah.
Electra's training to make the 5 stations danger. Yeah, stranger danger. Swifty dragons. Yee.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Say that'll really feel like Ainz at that point, or like Ainz 2.0.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Very, very cool. I'm very, very excited to see what the other avatars look like and what the other light support cards are look like. I'm also very curious what other YouTubers or content creators have the other colors potentially, because we got dark, but I don't know who anyone else got.
Yeah.
Speaking of exclusive spoilers, think we should talk about exclusive spoilers? I don't know, maybe.
Ooh, I'm ready.
I'm down for that.
Okay. Well, just because you asked so nicely. Let me pull this up real quick. Preview data. Make sure I can see these. View large icons. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. First exclusive spoiler. Big reveal. This is Darkness Solaricite. Hey, troll. We got a specific schedule, and they said that I had to start with the stone plus one other card. Don't worry, I have a good card to actually talk about. But Darkness Solaricite, as anticipated, it works exactly like Light Solaricite, but for darkness. Nothing else crazy there. But the card that we really want to talk about, everyone's seeing for the first time here. I'm so glad they gave me darkness. It's like everyone knows it's by far my favorite color in Force of Will. So it's just like the fact that I got the package and they were like, here's your spoilers. And I was like, oh, you know me, I Spy. Thank you so much. This is Asuka and Reinhardt. Enjoy. 3 cost, human, vampire, ethereal. You may pay 1 black less as usual. Pay 1 green to put the top card of your deck into the graveyard. Pay 1 blue to put an ethereal resonator from your graveyard into the field and then banish it. Play this ability only once per turn. That doesn't say main timing. It just says once per turn. Keep that in mind. When this card leaves the field, it does the same thing as the other one. Gain a will coin of just green or black, or gain a EX area with 2 spaces, or expand your possession EX area by 2. What were we saying about the Hyde one boosting Hyde more than Araceli? This card is cracked for Reinhardt.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Absolutely
I love
insane.
Reinhardt. I love Reinhardt. So seeing that, first of all, just the art itself is
It's
that's
Sigmund,
pretty.
which is
That
sick.
is pretty. But oh my gosh, that would be so like Reinhardt would love that. Just
Yeah.
all across the board, and even just putting the top card of your deck, like that's filtering more stuff in to then hit more ethereals, and then if you're playing contract, then all you got to do is contract at that point to flood that zone. And with this, I mean that's 2 more spaces. That's a huge amount.
One of
Stuff,
Reinhardt's inherent biggest weaknesses out the gate was that enabling his manipulation of the EX area during your opponent's turn was so incredibly difficult. Like it was just not feasible to do with any kind of ease or success or speed. This card is like, no, problem solved. Like, we got it. It's fine. Like, pay 1 blue, reanimate any of them, and then immediately banish it, triggering its when this card leaves the field ability or whatever. Think about this with cards like Ethereal Princess. Like, even if you don't want to put it into your EX area, this is just pay 1 blue, reanimate a thing, discard it immediately, and then make your opponent discard a card. Oh, darn.
And alright, if you have Dexia out in any form, like that's just spamming that out. Like, I mean, you do Princess 2 turns in a row, they discard 4 cards.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like
wrong.
Dexia himself can just bring this out of hand, banish it, so you could get the leave the field trigger immediately. Like,
Yeah.
this is insane.
This card is such a boost to, like, if you thought that Reinhardt was on the cusp of being competitive before, then this card is like, no, we there now. Do you like playing stun? Guess what? You're gonna have to start sideboarding Mimi's researchers or Lost Wandering Mimi's so you can actually hit the EX area. Jeez Louise, this card is so good.
Yeah, this plus like the ethereal support that came out last set, I'm actually really excited for what Reinhardt's gonna look like going into this next set. Like,
yeah,
I haven't seen him since the last set came out, so like I don't even know what he looks like with the current support, but like with this on top of it, that's gonna be insane.
Like,
so I think someone said Sir Timothus with Dexia out and about triggering this leaves the field twice, gain 4 EX or get 2 will coins. It's an interesting point. When this card leaves the field, if you control a ruler with, you may put and if you do,
You should have to
and
expel
choose
the
one.
Moon
And
Children.
choose one. Yeah, you have to get successfully expel the Moon Children to be able to do it, because it's specifically get rid of your Moon Children, or get a new ruler, expel the Moon Children. If you successfully did that, choose one. So you could double trigger, but you can't get rid of the Moon Children twice. So that doesn't work. Good future proofing. I spy. Good job.
Yeah, this is really exciting, and like it'll make defenders so much more consistent since you just need to get them in grave. I really like this card.
Yeah, for sure.
The only,
This card
the
is
only thing I
very
would say, the only reason I've held back on Reinhardt this current set is because of Electra now existing with the inability to prevent damage.
good.
That's like the only thing where I'm like, if Electra didn't exist, like I'd be jumping on a Reinhardt deck because I love Reinhardt.
I think. Let's see.
Yeah.
Steven, no. Yes, you do. You specifically do. It says, you have to. You may put. You would only put. You would only be able to do it once, and here's why. The conditions for being able to choose one are: put a ruler with Reinhardt or Asuka you own from outside the game into your ruler area, and if you do, expel all Moon Children rulers and choose one. So even necessarily not the expel all Moon Children, you can't have two Asukas. Right? That's the condition, is to like successfully put a Reinhardt or Asuka into the field. So like that's the actual condition you can't meet twice to double trigger, because you can't have two Asukas, two Reinhardts.
Oh, but could you have, so I think Steven's saying it's the two different Asukas. There's the starter set one and then the one in the box.
I think because of their continuous abilities, you can't do that.
Okay.
I think specifically because of the continuous abilities that say it gains the other name, you can't do that.
That's fair.
Yeah, we would need a Q&A to make sure, but I'm 99% sure that won't be possible. But yeah, this card is very, very cool. One thing to your point about like scared about Electra is I think one thing that I am noticing the most about having played against Electra and trying to figure out how the hell Darktree wins games in an environment where Electra exists is you just have to be able to kill the Electra in response to her effect. Like, you just don't think about canceling it. You don't give a shit. Like, you do not care about canceling that enter effect. That's going to happen. You're going to have to accept it. We're not fighting over it. Because even if you stop the enter effect, she's still there applying a continuous ability. Like, so you just can't think about that at all. You're like, you know what? You're going to board wipe me.
You know, that's actually fair. Because with Reinhardt, if you destroy her before the enter effect even goes off, then you do get the damage prevention from the...
From the troopers, right? Because the continuous ability, like, and I think that's one thing that I've learned having played it is just like Electra's best line of text is a continuous ability. Don't get me wrong, the enter is terrifying, but the biggest part is the fact that she has this continuous ability. So I just kill her on sight. I've been playing both. Reflector Frame and Darktree. Reflector Frame, I'm main decking Fire Witches because I want to be able to tell Branhart to go, climb a tree, which I do very consistently. But when they slam the Electra, it's always like, cool, you paid for it to try to do that. I'm Reflect Refrain. My refrain is flipped. I'm going to just kill her in response.
Yeah.
And then my Fire Witch prevents all your damage, and we have a great day. Or, I've done this to someone as Darktree. I'll kill the Electra, let them burn me for 16, and then be like, man, thanks for removing 16 cards from my deck. Quick cast in Gatekeeper of Velsivaria. I'd like to swing back at you for a ton of damage, please.
That's fair.
That's pretty good.
So killing the best answer that I found to Electra nowadays is just not caring about stopping the enter, just kill her. Just kill her in response, and you get a lot of value out of it that way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did they change the rules so you can't have multiple of the same rulers in deck? I believe that was in one of the Q&A videos, or the recent update videos, that it's going to be updated in the CR. So we'll figure out exactly what the Q&A is. I can't imagine that they didn't weirdly miss that future proofing about Asuka and Aristella, because they're the only ones that it works for. So I think that, and actually it would only work for Asuka because the other Aristella is banned. So it would just be for Asuka. So I don't think so. But yeah, this card is so cool. I was very excited about it. I like the idea of letting a stun deck come back into the environment. I think I think Reinhardt's package is just so cool. I think in so many different ways. It's just so many elements of him were like, we built this deck to mess with your opponent on both players' turns, but we forgot to add in the actions during both players' turns part of the deck.
Yeah.
And so this card helps with that a lot.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's my 2 spoilers for tonight. We have more coming out throughout the week. Will be at least 1 card every night this week, all the way up until next Monday, I think, is when we actually finish. So we'll wrap up everything next Monday. A lot of really cool stuff. A lot of really cool stuff for Reinhardt. A lot of really cool stuff for the Solara stations. A lot of really cool stuff for Stein, which I'm very excited about. And y'all thought the stuff for Tina that we've seen so far was good. Who, man? Just wait. Stein was like, "Hey, yo, I know you all been talking about me being the weakest outside of Niklaus. I'm here to set the record straight."
I'm interested in that then.
Aristella the Red Eyes, don't forget. That's true. You could bring in Aristella. I don't know why you would, but yeah, you can. I guess. It's kind of unfortunate that the will coin does not produce blue. Yeah, that is weird. That it doesn't only produces 2 colors for this one as opposed to 3 colors with Aristella. But I think the red from Aristella comes from the fact that there's 2 Aristellas. That's probably why it's like blue Aristella, red Aristella, white
sense.
from Hyde, as this one is black from Reinhardt and green from Asuka. So that makes more sense. Stein gets a glow up. Maybe. But yeah, overall, I'm very excited about this set. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I kind of wish the set was out for FowFest because I just want to play with these cards so bad. But
I'm excited to get back to a lot of that.
Yeah. Memoria Cluster, Memoria Collection 3 format, I think will be a lot of fun. I got to work on figuring out what deck I'm going to build for that, to play some side events and to make use of those reprints and cheap Oborozukis. So I'll give a thanks for cheap Obos.
That will be nice.
I lost 4 of those were the 4 cards that didn't come back from me from Worlds, and it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I legitimately don't know where they went. They're somewhere in Japan. But yeah, this is cool. This is good stuff. Looking forward to seeing what the 2 of you bring to FowFest. With your goose shirts ready to rock the house.
You know it.
Say we will represent.
Every
it's
time.
gonna be great. And then, as a reminder for those of you who have considered going to FowFest, just a reminder, Friday night, or Friday starting at 5 is when the doors will open for casual play, the cosplay contest, as well as side events for on demand. So start earning those prize wall points. And then Saturday is the main event, with Sunday being Top Cut. Side events on Saturday will start at round 3. And that is also when the prize wall will first open, so that people, on Friday don't get a chance to buy out the prize wall before everyone else shows up. So there's that. And then side events will run all through the night. And then same thing on Sunday. It's going to be, please take all of this home. I don't want it. It's too much for one person. It's going to be a great time. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. You can actually go register online if you want at Odyssey's website. They have event tickets available. So if you want to get pre-registered, you can. Otherwise, we'll take your registration on site. And if you just want to come hang out and goof around, play some ABC, we'll have decks that you can just borrow to try out ABC format as well, which is going to be a ton of fun. Looking forward to it. So thank you, Lindley Brothers, for joining us. Kind of last minute.
having
I
us.
appreciate you. Literally, the countdown was going, and I was like, I need people to talk to. I'll talk to the Lindley Brothers, see if that works. And we'll go from there. Hopefully, looking forward to seeing you guys next week, and hopefully my regular co-hosts will feel better and be back next week. Again, just a reminder to come check out our spoilers throughout the week. And until next time, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined by Matt Lindley.
Hey. Thank you.
And Jeremy Lindley.
Hey, everybody. Hope to see you at FowFest.
Yeah, saying Class dismissed. Have a good night.